So now you're now speaking to American Jews and non-Jews through Shalom TV. What would you answer to those who say that while Iran does pose a threat to Israel, the threat is not as urgent and immediate?
Are they living on this planet? Iran is openly saying, through its leader Ahmadinejad, they intend to wipe Israel off the map. The head of the Mossad says that within 3 years Iran will have nuclear weapons that Iran says it will use against Israel. I think that's dangerous enough.
When speaking to Jewish diaspora, what do you make out of it? Do you sense a bit of complacency or rather urgency?
No, I think more and more people are understanding that we live in dangerous times. But unlike the 30s, we do have a Jewish state to defend the Jewish people. Part of that defense is what we do in Israel to develop the means for our own physical self-defense. But the other is to use our position in the world to alert international opinion, something the Jewish people did not do in the 1930s. In fact, they were silent. They didn't mobilize parliaments or governments or business organizations to put pressure on the Nazis. They were actually totally defenseless. We're not defenseless, and the reason I'm here today in the House of Commons is to alert British public opinion and British parliamentarians and the leadership of Britain to take a strong position against the extremist regime in Iran. And I was delighted to see here many members of parliament from both sides of the aisle, and that's important. That's a beginning. It's one of the steps we need to take, one of many, but we are able to take those steps.
Are you optimistic or pessimistic when it comes to the future of Israel, especially in terms of the Hezbollah in Iran?
Well, I'm optimistic because I know the power that is vested in our people. I know that we rise to the challenge when we see it, when we have it in our sights. We know how to deflect these dangers. This is how the Jewish people have defied the laws of history and really came back from the ashes. And this is why, if we act in time, we can roll back this danger as well.
Do many Israelis share your views regarding Iran, and can you see yourself leading the people of Israel once again?
I think there's broad consensus that Iran is a great danger. I must say that this wasn't the case even as late as a year ago, when before the last elections, my colleagues and I were talking about this danger, but I think that has changed. And many Israelis, I would say most Israelis now across the political spectrum, see this danger. I think my job as opposition leader is to change roles with the government. I think that is something that many people in Israel would like it to happen, but of course it's their decision. It's the decision of Israel as a democracy. In fact, it is the only one governed by the rule of law in a very large spectrum. It is the only one in which the popular will ultimately decides what happens. And if the people of Israel decide that my colleagues and I should lead them, I assure you we shall do so.
And final question, what can be done against Iran in the foreseeable future?
We have to do two things. In Israel, we have to prepare the means to defend ourselves with our own power, but at the same time, we should launch international efforts like the one we're doing here today, or divestment efforts that we've started in America to divest from companies that trade with Iran, with a genocidal regime. These are some of the things that we have to do on the international front. We have to undertake hasbara, diplomatic, economic and political efforts to put maximum pressure on the Ahmadinejad regime. And we know that it's susceptible to those pressures. So we have to act internationally and we have to act nationally inside Israel to erect the defenses against this radical ideology that seeks to extinguish our lives.
Mr. Netanyahu, on behalf of Shalom TV's viewers, we'd like to wish you and the State of Israel all the best. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on Shalom TV. Thank you. Shalom from Britain's Parliament in London.